more than 156,000 Afghans returned to Afghanistan from Pakistan. Currently, Pakistan accommodates approximately 1.3 million Afghan refugees, along with an additional 1.5 million Afghan nationals of various statuses. However, a new policy introduced in 2023, the Illegal Foreigners Repatriation Plan, has pressured many undocumented Afghans to return home, with about 647,000 having left under duress. Meanwhile, Iran has emerged as the largest refugee hosting nation worldwide, with at least 3.8 million refugees, including over 1 million Afghans who have arrived since 2021. Concerns persist regarding the treatment of Afghan migrants in both countries. Rohingya refugees in Delhi are encountering significant obstacles in securing school admissions for their children due to the lack of essential documentation, particularly Aadhaar cards, the Indian Express reported yesterday. Activists and legal advocates have criticized this situation, asserting that the denial of admissions violates the right of children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, as well as Article 21A of the Indian Constitution. Despite a circular from the Directorate of Education issued in July 2017, which allows for the admission of refugee children without Aadhaar, many families report being turned away from government schools. Official sources indicate that nearly 1,000 children from various nationalities are enrolled in Delhi government schools, suggesting that the policy is not being uniformly applied. In Kahjuri Khas, a settlement for Rohingya refugees, only a small fraction of eligible children are currently enrolled in local schools. Community leaders are advocating for better access to education, emphasizing the long-term implications of these barriers on the children's futures. The issue has garnered attention from child rights activists who are calling for immediate action to ensure that refugee children receive their right to education. The Global Multidimensional Poverty Index (MPI) 2024 report reveals that approximately 1.1 billion people worldwide live in multidimensional poverty, with alarming disparities exacerbated by conflict. The report highlights that the urgent need for targeted interventions to address the intertwined issues of poverty and violence. More details in the following report.
According to an article published by ReliefWeb, among the 1.1 billion impoverished individuals, 455 million reside in conflict-affected countries, where poverty rates are nearly 3 times higher than in more stable regions. Over half of the poor, approximately 584 million, are children under 18, who represent 27.9% of all children globally, compared to 13.5% of adults. The MPI report emphasizes that children in conflict areas face significantly worse conditions, with 17.7% lacking access to education, 20.8% experiencing malnutrition, and an alarming child mortality rate of 8%. Access to basic needs is severely compromised in conflict zones. More than 25% of the poor in these areas lack electricity, while sanitation and adequate housing are also critical issues, with 828 million lacking proper sanitation facilities and 886 million living in inadequate housing. The case of Afghanistan is particularly troubling. From 2015 to 2023, an additional 5.3 million people fell into multidimensional poverty, resulting in 64.9% of Afghans living in poverty. While some progress has been made, with 76 out of 86 countries reducing poverty significantly in at least one period, the COVID-19 pandemic has stunted progress for many. Meanwhile, UNICEF emphasizes that people living in poverty face daily stigma and discrimination, being 3 times more likely to experience discrimination than those facing challenges related to age, gender, religion, or disability. This stigmatization hampers their access to essential services, leaving them feeling powerless and excluded. UNICEF advocates for inclusive social protection programs and quality health and education services to break the cycle of poverty and build resilience in families. Reporting, Sayyid Muthanna Al-Musawi.
Thank you for that report. Now let's look back at today's main headlines. Over 1.6 million Afghans seek refuge in Iran and Pakistan since 2021. Rohingya refugee children denied school admissions in Delhi. Global Multidimensional Poverty Index 2024. Urgent call for action in conflict-affected areas. Also, tonight, Vietnam to host first National Halal Conference. The Supreme Religious Authority, Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq al-Husseini Shirazi, emphasized the importance of introducing Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, peace be upon her, and her teachings to the entire world. In remarks published on the official website, the Grand Marja expressed his regret that the world today remains largely unaware of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, peace be upon her, and her blessed life and goals. His Eminence stressed that the responsibility to introduce her legacy and life rests upon each of us, and that this task is not only a religious duty but also a collective responsibility towards the world. This message reaffirms the vital role of Sayyidah Fatima, peace be upon her, in promoting Islamic values and highlights her esteemed position within Islam. And now we continue with some short news. The Windsor Mosque in Ontario, Canada welcomed dozens of non-Muslims during its annual Open Mosque Day, offering a chance to learn about Islamic practices and culture. Over 2 days, where visitors were introduced to mosque rituals, including prayer and ablution, and attended educational talks. Mohammed Sheikh, Windsor Mosque Imam, emphasized the event's goal of providing accurate information about Islam and fostering cultural dialogue. This initiative is part of Canada's Islamic History Month, celebrating the rich contributions of Islamic heritage in various fields. Muslims in Minnesota have successfully laid the foundation for the state's first Islamic cemetery. Following a decade of overcoming legal and logistical challenges, the 72-acre site purchased in 2014 will provide space for nearly 50,000 graves and is slated to open in May 2025. The El Maghfariya Cemetery Association, which raised $900,000 to buy the land, expects to spend an additional $1.5 million to develop the site. Leaders of the local Muslim community have emphasized the cemetery's importance in meeting religious burial needs. The Ibn Sina Center, in collaboration with the Noor International Microfilm Center, has inaugurated an exhibition showcasing rare Quranic manuscripts and their interpretations at the Kremlin Museum of Islamic Culture in Kazan, Tatarstan. The exhibition features a collection of Islamic manuscripts from Iran, Russia, India, and Central Asia, with some dating from the 10th to the 15th centuries. According to the organizers, visitors can view rare copies of the Quran and interpretations, including displays of verses from the Surah Ash-Shams. The exhibition runs until March 31st, 2025. China held its 6th World Media Summit in Urumqi, Xinjiang, from October 14th to the 17th, attracting over 500 participants from 208 media organizations, VOA reported yesterday. The event, co-hosted by Xinhua News Agency and the Xinjiang Regional Government, focused on artificial intelligence and media transformation. While Chinese media emphasized the benefits of AI collaboration, critics highlighted that the choice of Xinjiang as a venue, citing ongoing human rights abuses against Uyghurs and other Turkic minorities. Adrian Zenz from the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation expressed concerns that the summit aimed to normalize the situation in Xinjiang, presenting it as a modern and developing region. Uyghur activists condemned the summit, accusing participating media organizations of legitimizing China's policies. Mamtimin Allah from East Turkestan government in exile criticized their involvement as an endorsement of colonial and genocidal policies in the region. Despite these allegations, some attendees dismissed concerns as fake news, asserting that Xinjiang's development is impressive. Researchers from VIB KU Leuven, Columbia University, and École Normale Supérieure have identified two unique human genes, sRGAP2B and sRGAP2C that influence synapse development and may contribute to neurodevelopmental disorders like autism, SciTech Daily reported yesterday. Their study published in Neuron reveals a connection between these genes and SYNGAP1, a gene associated with intellectual disability and autism spectrum disorders. The human brain's extended synapse maturation process, crucial for advanced cognitive abilities, is disrupted in certain disorders by disabling sRGAP2B and sRGAP2C in human neurons transplanted into mice. The team observed accelerated synapse development resembling that 5 to 10-year-old children. The findings suggest that sRGAP2 genes enhance SYNGAP1 expression, potentially reversing the defects in SYNGAP1 lacking neurons. Remarkably, the scientists discovered that the sRGAP2 and SYNGAP1 genes act together to control the speed of human synapse development. On October 22nd, Vietnam will host its inaugural National Halal Conference in Hanoi, organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in collaboration with the Ministry of Science and Technology and Agriculture and Rural Development, VOV World reported yesterday. The event aims to bolster the country's halal industry through enhanced internal capabilities and international cooperation. Spokeswoman Pham Tu Hang highlighted the conference will facilitate experience sharing among countries, and organizations provide recommendations for developing Vietnam's halal sector and explore market opportunities for Vietnamese halal products. Additionally, it aims to foster negotiations for halal cooperation agreements between local agencies and potential partners, anticipating the participation of 500 delegates, both domestic and international. The conference will feature a keynote speech by Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh. With over 2 billion Muslims globally in 2024, the halal economy is projected to reach $10 trillion by 2028, underscoring the significance of this conference for Vietnam's economic future. We have reached the end of today's Shia Waves news. Let's remind our dear viewers of today's main headlines. Over 1.6 million Afghans seek refuge in Iran and Pakistan since 2021. Rohingya refugee children denied school admissions in Delhi. Global Multidimensional Poverty Index 2024 urgent call for action in conflict-affected areas. Grand Ayatollah Shirazi urges believers to introduce life story of Sayyidah Fatimah az-Zahra, peace be upon her. Vietnam to host first National Halal Conference. You can view the latest news on our Shia Waves website, and you can send news of your city or country to be published on a news agency. Contact the numbers at the bottom of the screen. Thank you all for watching. We pray to Allah Almighty to hasten the reappearance of the mass of our time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The grandeur of Rasulullah is introduced through Fatima. The grandeur of Amirul Mu'mineen Ba'luha through Fatima. Wabanuha, the Ma'soom Imam, their grandeur through Fatima. Why? This Fatima is the Noor, which then combines the Noor of Nabuwa with the Noor of Imamah, which is why you find that the jihad of Sayyidati Nisa'il Alameen, when she stood behind the door, was a jihad where the Noor Fatimi is protecting the Noor of Nabuwa on one side and the Noor of Imamah. Had it not been for that khutbah and that mawqif of Sayyidati Nisa'il Alameen behind the door, there would be no trace of Nabuwa, and there would be no trace of Imamah.
This is Fatima.
This is that Noor Fatima which Allah defines with it. Have we understood? the greatness and the centrality of the role of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra in this deen. Allahu Akbar. Majhoolat al-Qadr.
Oh, she can remember our nails and fire and crying for Haydar against the darkness of the night. Alone to his grave she'd complain. The roses beside him are drowned. Her tears upon these roses rain.
شهادت پیغمبر اسلام را قرآن کریم تعبیر کرده به انقلاب در اسلام. اما بعد از شهادت پیغمبر اسلام وارونه شد، منقلب شد، انقلاب کامل. انقلبتم علی اعقابکم. اول کشته سیاسی بعد از پیغمبر خدا شخص حضرت زهرا سلام الله علیها. حضرت زهرا شمشیر برداشته بودن، جنگ کرده بودن با اینا، حرف زدن. مگه جواب حرف کشتنه؟ حضرت زهرا حرف زدن. خطبه خود شما هم خطبه بخورید، شما هم حرف بزنید. اسلام یعنی پیغمبر خدا، چیز دیگه اسمش اسلام نیست.
The sun sets and is silent. There is no one that's patient. As hearts break for this moment, the one who sees Ali aches. Named Haydar by his mother, killed 35 at Badr and raised the gate of Khaybar when finding her rib.
الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا. إن مع العسر يسرا. فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة